All right, mateys. Hey, I'm back at Henderson's Wharf. I came across from North Point, Rock Hall, about a week ago. And, you know, you should learn lessons as you go along. Now, this hasn't happened to me for a while, but I got out of the harbor and there was no wind. I mean, no wind for sailing at all. And at 3,000 RPMs, the boat normally goes about 5.5 knots. I was barely able to get to over 4 knots, so I know the prop needed to be cleaned. But I'm out there. I just came on across, and then when I got here to Baltimore, I was telling one of the office guys, and I'd have to go down and clean my prop, and he recommended this guy Joey, who's a diver. He went down, did it, very little money, well worth it. But the lesson learned here, and it's got nothing to do with the prop, by the way. I'm coming across now. I haven't changed my fuel filter in over a year. I'm thinking, I'm okay. The sight glass looked pretty good. Well, I get across and I'm right between shipping channels and the boat starts to sputter. Now I'm thinking I can just power up a little bit. I'll get through this. I'll be all right. No, when this starts to happen to you, what you need to do is find a safe place, drop the anchor if you can, shut the engine off, replace the fuel filter. No, I just kept on pushing. I had this happen before, and I pushed, and sure enough, then the engine just dies. And luckily, I was still, and I mean really luckily, I put my guardian angels through a lot of effort here, I'm telling you. So the lesson I didn't learn well enough is change your fuel filter, even if you don't think it needs it, at least once a year, if not more. When the engine starts to sputter, stop. Because what happens when it dies, now I've got to bleed all the air out of it too. I'm getting pretty good at changing the fuel filter, though, I'll tell you what. It takes me about 12 minutes, and that's only because every so often I have to go up and see that I'm not going to bump into anything. I always carry a spare filter, thanks to my sister. She always helps me out with that. And I have a small jerry can of diesel fuel, because the other thing that happens is if you don't have that, when you change your filter, you want to make sure you refill the filter all the way to the top, the best you can, so you don't have a lot to bleed out, air to bleed out. Anyway, so I got that changed, and the rest of the trip in was fine. But still, no wind till I got to the Key Bridge. Then the winds picked up a little bit. By the time I got to Henderson's, thunderstorm is coming through, 25 to 30 knot gust. I should have just, stayed out, floated around a little bit, and come in 10 or 15 minutes later, because within 15 minutes, it was calm again. Another lesson learned. But anyway, so I'm here at Henderson's, just kind of hanging out. Toured around Fells Point and Canton this week, and tomorrow's a farmer's market in Fells Point, so I'm going to go to that. I probably won't get this film edited until that time, so I'll put a couple pictures up of that. Last night they had an event at the Tiki Bar here. I was invited to that, so that was a lot of fun. I mean, you're right out here. You kind of watch the ships go by, and it's nice and relaxing. I started growing my own alfalfa sprouts. I thought I'd give that a try, and that worked out pretty good too. And that's about, it's been kind of a quiet month. August, sailing in August, man, that can be tough because there's just not a lot of wind. I mean, it's tough, but you can't just sit at one marina all day. I like to go hop around, and I like this here. You know, I got a nice view. It's a nice marina. I'm close to a Fells Point. You don't lack for marina or for restaurants and bars. I want to tell you that. That'd get you in trouble, I think. But anyway, that's kind of what's been happening the last couple of weeks. Nothing real exciting. Nothing real dramatic. Could have been out there though with that engine dying if it had been rough seas. But I've had a relaxing time, guys. So until next time, happy and safe boating to you, your family, and friends. And don't forget to change your fuel filter.